Alright, so if y'all came to this video because you're trying to figure out the difference between ZeroStop and ZeroSet, you came to the right place because I'm going to show it to you. When I was looking in to get one of these scopes right here, I wasn't really sure what ZeroSet was or how it worked. I kind of had an idea of what it did and that it basically was the same as ZeroStop, which it is. But I couldn't find anything on how it works. So I'm going to show you guys. I'm actually going to crack this thing open and show you how it works. I already had ZeroStop scope, the ATAC Rs. ZeroStop is nothing new. It is Nightforce's kind of bread and butter for their scopes, especially the ATAC R line. It's on some of the NXS lines. I don't know exactly which models it's on, but I know it's been around for a little while and it's pretty fantastic stuff. Basically what it'll do is allow you to make multiple revolutions and then go straight back to zero. Let me pick up this 308. This is the ATAC R 4 to 14 by 50 that I was shooting at 1,000 yards the other day, and I had a lot of revolutions to get there. So if you'll notice here, these clicks, I know y'all can hear them, and when I get to the zero, you'll hear an audible tap, basically. Hear that? Dead nuts, right on zero. No ifs, ands, or buts, no play, no sponginess, no nothing. It is a brick wall, like breaking glass. I mean, it's just boom, it's there. That's not really the case with the ZeroSet. Now, if you've never messed with a SHV scope before or other high-end scopes, and you were to pick up this scope right here and use these turrets, you'd be amazed because they feel great. Now, if you're accustomed to ATAC Rs and other extremely high dollar scopes, then this would feel a little, lower quality. And it's not really this lower quality, it's just a more affordable optic. The clicks are still very good. You could do it blindfolded, you can feel it, you can hear it. It's not an ATAC R, but they're still very good. These are fantastic scopes, just for what that's worth. So the ZeroSet will do the same thing. If you go making a bunch of revolutions for whatever reason and you need to get back zero later on, you're right there at it. Now you'll notice there's no final click like there was on the ZeroStop. It's kind of a spongy ending, if that makes sense. If you were to take one of your turrets and turn it all the way up until it stopped and you ran out of space, it is kind of that spongy, like, wait a minute, I'm done here feeling. And that's because these work in two different ways. The ZeroStop uses a clutch system. I'm not going to say it's complicated, but it's a sophisticated system. I'm going to crack open this here ZeroSet and show you how it works. Now to start off, it's got two set screws, just like the ZeroStop does. So what you do is, you take your little tool, you loosen up these set screws. You don't even have to take them all the way out. The cap pops off much like a ATAC R cap does. It's sealed up and everything with the O-rings and grease. So now we'll notice here we've got this brass tower is what I'm calling it. I don't know the technical term, but it's essentially a brass tower. And I doubt you guys can see it in video, but there's actually little dimples in here where I've used this already. So basically what you do is, once you get your zero, you'll take your turret off, you'll put it back down, and you'll push it down with the zero lined up. And then as it's all the way down, you'll turn these set screws back in, and then the inside of these set screws, there's little dimples, basically little points that are going to stab into this brass. So I'm going to go ahead and do this and show y'all the real method to it. Basically, you get your zero lined up, and the trick is you have to push it all the way down as far as you can get it. And that is essentially how the ZeroSet works. Something bottoms out. At first, I thought it was the actual turret metal on the outside of the ring here touching the top of the scope. Right there in the erector assembly or whatever you want to call it. That's not the case. It would scratch the scope out of hell if that happened. So that's not what it does. But something in there bottoms out that will not allow it to go any further. See that? But it still works very good. It's not always going to stop you right on zero. Wherever it stops you, it pretty much stops you in the same spot every time. It's just enough to where you know right where your zero's at. If you've made multiple revolutions, it works fantastic. And on that note, that's pretty much all there is about it. If I didn't say, this is the SHV 5-20 by 56. As far as I know at this time, this is the only scope that has the ZeroSet. No other scopes have it. Everything else is higher end stuff, and it's got the ZeroStop on it. No SHV scopes have ZeroStop. So this is a fantastic scope. This is on my 22 here that I'm shooting longer ranges. This has already come in handy. The range we're at has 200 and 300 yard ranges, so we're gone a long way. I actually dialed up all the way the other day until the turret stopped. And then I still had to use the minute of angle reticle inside the scope. I was able to go back home later that day and return this thing right back to zero. So, if you're interested in a Nightforce scope, especially a SHV, I highly recommend. We have several of them. They're fantastic scopes, extremely durable. And sometimes we actually prefer them to the ATAC cards because they're a little bit lighter. So, I mean, how often do you really need a ATAC card to kill a deer? Deers don't have grenades and army tanks with them. At least not the ones we hunt. So, hope this video helped y'all out. If you have any comments or questions, put them in a little box below and I'll try to answer them. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed and happy shooting.